Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya Luisa, and in today's video I'm really excited because I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. This video has been calling me and I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. Very excited about this. I have no notes. I'm gonna be speaking from my heart and it's gonna be all about Osun. Osun is my mother. I am a crown priestess of Osun for 17 years now. I was crowned in Havana, Cuba. And in today's video, we're going to talk about Osun and her lessons and what she teaches us about feminine energy. So, who is Osun? Osun is an Orisha of the Yoruba pantheon. She rules over and governs rivers, the arts, creativity, sensuality, femininity, fertility, abundance, prosperity, family, so many things. But that in essence is Osun. Her sacred number is 5. She works with brass, she works with the calabash, she works with the vultures, she works with many different elements. The fan is also sacred to her. Mirrors are also sacred to her. So that is Osun. So I'm gonna start this video with a very personal story. And in this real story, I'm gonna reveal to you just on a personal level as a priestess what Osun has taught me about femininity from my own experience. So about feminine energy. So this was like several years ago, pretty long time ago. I was in a space in my life where I was just so consumed with work. I love what I do. At the time, business was popping. I was flying all around the world, being flown all around the world to teach dance, to like have dance classes, workshops, to sell my jewelry and make waist beads. I was like just going to Jamaica and Brazil, all over, just Puerto Rico. That was my life. Business was popping and I love what I do. So it came to a time when I had to do this ritual where I feed Osun, and after I feed Osun, she speaks to me. So I went to Cuba to do that, and I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, my mom's gonna talk to me. And I was like, I just knew, I was like, she's about to give me the best advice on how to take this to the next level. Like Oshun's about to unlock all the abundance for me. She's about to just open the floodgates. You know, I knew it. I was like, oh, I can't wait, you know? So I go to Cuba, I do what I need to do. I sit down for my reading. There was people who had readings throughout the day, these big readings that are called Ita. And so people had like long ones, right? Like people were sitting down, she's like, whoever the Orisha that was speaking to them for a long time. And so then came to me, right? So I sat down for Osun through a divination, for Osun to speak to me. And I was so excited because I was like, she's about to open up the keys to the kingdom. And Osun said about one thing. She said one thing to me and that's it. And then she closed the reading. And the thing that she said to me was, it's time to start your family. And I was like, what? Just being so honest here. I was like, my mind was so far from that. I was not thinking about that at all. I was definitely just in a different space, you know. I was like leading women and I'm doing all these things and I'm not thinking about being grounded in one space and making a family and, you know, getting married, having babies. That was the farthest thing from my mind. So I sat there and I was just like, what? But being her daughter and having learned the hard way, I listen. When Osun tells me to do something, I listen to her. Because if it's anything that I've learned, it's that Osun be knowing. She knows. She knows what's best. And I had to kind of, you know, it took me a while to digest it. So what I started to do is I started to really look at my life and really look at, okay, you're not good at love. What's going on there? Let's start there. You know, obviously that will get the ball rolling. That's how we begin, is in a, you know, loving relationship. So I started to really look at what were the blocks I had to love and what were my thoughts. And I started to read about it. I started to surround myself with people who were in happy marriages. I started to expand my mind. I started to do all of these things because I was not in that mind frame at all. So that's what I did. And I started to really see what is the blocks, what are the blocks within me. And I started to work on myself and do my manifestation work, if you've seen my other videos, and do lots of inner work, lots of healing within myself, and really be clear on what I wanted, how I wanted to feel in a divine union. And so now I have my family. And so in that lesson that Osun taught me was that success is not something, the true success is not something that is very external. And what I mean by that, and what Osun knew at that time that I didn't know, was there was a void inside of me. And because of my childhood, my parents are from very different cultures. My mom's culture is very different from my father's. My mom's family is very different from my father's family. My father's family from Mississippi, my mom's family is from New York. The family of my mom that I know, they're Puerto Rican New Yorkers. Very different from a Baptist, you know, Mississippi. So within my families, I love them. I love both of my families, but I never felt like I belonged. I was always an outsider. Always felt like an outsider. And now that I have a family, and I see, like, when I, you know, like, I see my babies and I see my love, and they're like waiting for me, you know, maybe we're gonna go and just cuddle. I belong. That's where I belong, and my soul needed that. That is success for me. That is becoming whole for me. That is what, I'm getting emotional, but that is what has brought me fulfillment in my life. And no amount of money, no amount of traveling, no amount of anything could have brought that to me. It was only through creating a family. And that's different for other people. Maybe other people, you know, are different. But my life and who I am and my experiences in my childhood, I needed that. I need that. That sense of belonging nourishes my soul. It grounds me and has grounded me and fulfilled me. And so fulfillment is the ultimate success. And that is what Osun taught me through that. Fulfillment, that groundedness, that inner peace, that feeling of connection and belonging. That is the ultimate success. And on top of that, because I have a family, because my kids are so young, my oldest is only 3, I'm at home. So because I'm at home and I still want to connect and I still want to teach and I still have a message to share, I'm not flying to Jamaica and just teaching, a select group of people. I'm sitting here sharing my words with you, and my message goes farther and I can connect with more people. So I'm not like running and just talking to small amounts of people. I'm sitting here and whatever I have to share is going out farther to the world. So there's so much beauty in that because I'm grounded, because I'm here. I had to switch things up, I had to put more. I had so much blockages when it came to like being online. I didn't want to be online. I just want to be in person. I was very like that. Like I want to look in people's eyes, which I love, but I can also be here and just sharing to a larger community. That is what I believe I'm meant to be. I'm meant to do this. It feels right to just sit and let whoever is meant to hear this, hear it. So that's lesson number 1 of this video. Fulfillment of the soul, nourishment is the ultimate success. And also to trust and surrender in a way, to surrender to life, that what life presents itself, be open to it, be open to the lessons, be open to, instead of trying to control it, let life be and find the jewels within that. So that is lesson number 1 from Osun. That's just more about life and about just being a woman and soul fulfillment. Lesson number 2, I'm going to be talking to you about a story about Osun. So in the creation of the world, one of the words for the creator is Olodumare. Olodumare sent 16 Odu to formulate the earth. And the 17th that was supposed to go with them was Osun, the only female. So the 16 Odu was like, oh, you know what? And now, mind you, I'm putting my own ad libs, I'm putting my own flavor into the story. So the 16 Odu was like, we got this, we're strong. So they set out to establish Earth. And nothing worked. There was sickness, there was destruction, there was just nothing was working at all. And Osun sat back and she saw that they did not include her. She was like, didn't say a word. So nothing's working, it's all chaotic. So the 16 Odu go back to Olodumare and they explained it like, look, we're trying this, we tried that, and it's not working. What should we do? And Olodumare says, where's Osun? And they're like, well, we're strong, we got this. We did not include her. And Olodumare said, you must plead to Osun and you must pray that she agrees to come in and to help you, because if you do not include Osun, you will not be successful. So they go to Osun, they're like, Osun, I'm sorry, ma, I'm adding ad-libs. Please. They're just begging to appease her, please come, please come. So Osun was like, look, she's like, I'm pregnant. And I really don't want to be bothered with you. She was like, if it's a boy, I'll go. But if it's a girl, you're on your own. So they prayed, they prayed, they prayed. They were like, oh my God, please let this be a male child. Lo and behold, it was a male child. She came to earth. All of a sudden, rain fell, the crops grew, the rivers flowed. Women became very fertile because their womb was now filled with water. Life was abundant. The earth was able to thrive. So in this lesson, very clearly, we understand that life cannot thrive without the feminine, which is water, which is Osun. Life cannot exist without water. Life cannot exist without the acknowledgement and the inclusion of the feminine. If it is just one way, if it's out of balance, that will be the destruction and the end of the earth. What do we see now going on in the earth? Because we have been existing in this earth for so long in this patriarchy, for so long suppressing the feminine, for so long, because there is one that is dominant over the other for a long time on this earth, we see global warming, we see war where there could have been diplomacy, we see misogyny, we see racism, we see the destruction of the rainforest. We see all of these things happening because there is not the honor of the feminine, because there is not the acknowledgement and the elevation of the feminine, because the feminine has been suppressed, because the water has been polluted, because it's the masculine energy of destruction, of take, and destruction and killing, and not the balance of cultivation, the balance of planting seeds, the balance of acknowledgement of life, the balance of honoring life and life being sacred. So you see that this is reflection of what is going on in this earth right now. And now I believe we're at a time when the feminine is starting to rise, when women are starting to awaken, because we are the gateholders of all of this. So as women start to awaken to the power that they exist inside of them, which is in the feminine, I believe we'll see things start to change, and change very rapidly, because women are very powerful. So that is the second lesson, is just the presence and the power of the feminine. Nothing can thrive without it. Nothing can thrive. Yet we've been taught the opposite. Yet we've been taught that femininity is weak and useless. This is how we've been raised, and things that we need to change. We need to change if we want to see this earth different. We need to change so that we can honor the feminine, and then we're going to see a shift in the livelihood of humanity, the livelihood of the earth, of plant life, animal life, sea plants, sea, the ocean, all of that stuff that's the feminine. It's honoring life, it's honor and respect for nature, respecting life. So that is Osun. That is what the lesson teaches us about life and about femininity and how important it is. If you want to do anything and be successful, you must have the femininity. You must honor the feminine. Story number 3. Story number 3. Children of Ogun know this story very well. This is a story that Ogun is an Orisha in the Yoruba pantheon, and he is the god of metal. He's the god of industry and of hard work, and really just a warrior, super focused. And so Ogun got very angry, and he left society. He was like, F this, I'm going to the forest, went out into the forest. And so all of humanity, all of society started to get chaotic. We needed Ogun to organize things. We needed Ogun for the structure. And because Ogun left into the forest, things started to go disarray. So one by one, the Orishas came, one by one, and they talked to Ogun, and they pleaded to him, please come back, we need you, please, please come back, come back. And he did not budge. Osun said, I'll go. So what did Osun do? She went into the forest and she just began to sing and she began to dance very sensually, and she was just in her body, in her laughter, dancing, in her joy, in her pleasure. And Ogun starts to notice. He's like, oh. And so she's continuing to do her dance and just be Osun in her pleasure, in her dance. And Ogun goes closer, and as he goes closer, she had a pot of honey. She keeps a pot of honey on her hip, and she takes the honey and she smears it on his lips and begins to continue to dance. And he was just so intoxicated. Obviously, he starts to follow her, and as she's dancing, she's leading him out of the forest. And so it was Osun and only Osun that could bring Ogun out of the forest. So there's a lot we can learn from that. But what I want us to pay attention to is the fact that Osun did not strategize. She didn't come for him in the mental. She didn't tell him, look, if you come out the forest, it'll be a really good thing. She was just so embodied in her own essence, in her own pleasure, in her own joy. Her joy, her pleasure was self-resourced. She was not empty. She was very full. And because of that, because of her own embodiment of her energy, because her own essence, her own joy, that was the power that drew him out. And if we think about the honey representing sweetness, the honey representing pleasure, she was self-resourced in her own pleasure. She knew how to bring pleasure to herself. She knew how to seduce herself. She was just embodied and so full. Her honey pot was full. So many of us are trying to be in love and trying to be seducing and trying to be, in loving relationships and trying to give love from an empty honey pot. But what Osun teaches us is all about self-love. It's all about filling up your own honey pot. It's all about being that magnetic force of being so embodied in your own essence and knowing how to bring yourself joy, knowing how to bring your own seduction, how to just be so alive in your body and so alive in your own essence, your own pleasure, your own joy. That is the magnet. That is the power that draws everything you want to you. She was just embodied in it. She had her honey pot full. So Osun also teaches us about self-love, about loving ourselves, about caring for ourselves, about caring for our body. So that is another lesson for Osun. It's very important to always have your honey pot full. To not be seeking someone else to bring you that joy. To not be seeking someone else to bring you pleasure. That your pleasure is coming from within you. Your joy is coming from within you. And that is how we love. We love from our embodiments. We love from the emanation of love that we have for ourselves. It's not this giving. It's not giving. It's the emanation. It's a different frequency. And Osun teaches that it's very powerful. It's extremely powerful because you can bring the most powerful warrior to come to you and do what you want him to do from your place. So there's different types of power, yes? And Osun represents that magnetic power, that honey. So it is extremely powerful. And I can say from the last thing, I just wrote like the basics that I wanted to cover because I knew I was just going to go off in a tangent. But the last thing I will talk about is the dance of Osun. when we dance for Osun, we embody that sweetness, we embody that lightheartedness, we embody that flow. I used to teach at a psychiatric hospital for children, and I used to teach them Afro-Cuban dance, and I used to teach them Orisha dance. So I had girls who were teens, who were had mental health challenges. A lot of girls, what happens when they go through traumatic things or when they have those issues is they tend to implode, like they will hurt themselves. So a lot of these girls were cutters. And I'll never forget, I was teaching them Osun in a dance class, and I'll never forget this. They were just caressing their cuts. You know, it's something that's so ingrained in my mind. But yes, I was teaching them this dance as like a therapy, because when we're dancing the dance of Osun, we're dancing that aspect of ourself that exists inside, the aspect of self-love, the aspect of lightheartedness, of playfulness, of femininity and sensuality. That when we dance that, we embody that energy, and it's very therapeutic, it's very beautiful, and was really transformative for the girls and also for me to witness that. But yes, so the dance of Osun is super powerful because we get to embody that energy. We get to really live in that energy in our body. And I'll tell you, one of the most powerful things I can say that I learned from Osun is to feel safe in my body. The most important thing is for us to feel safe in our body, no matter what it looks like, to feel safe in your body. Because if you don't feel safe in your body, you could never feel home in your body. If you don't feel home, if you don't feel like your body is your home, you can never feel safe anywhere you go in life. Your body is your temple, your body is your home. And through the self-love, through the rituals, through the embodiments, through just that love, that acceptance, that pleasure, that joy, we begin to fall in love with ourselves just as we are and find the beauty in that. And that is Osun. It's really feeling home in the body. Because if you don't feel home in the body, you cannot feel safe anywhere you go in life. So I think that is the essence of the Osun dance and what it teaches. It teaches this confidence. It teaches this regality that you get to just be in and live in and swim in. You know, when you dance Osun, it evokes emotions inside of you, just the fluidity, you know, the arms and how they move like water, and